Kia ora Stefano. I'm excited because I made a thing. Now, you don't have to worry about this monstrosity. This is just what I had to do so that I don't do what I did the first time and keep ruining beautiful ledger paper. You don't have to worry about that. This is what it makes, which I think I like it. I haven't seen it before. Please let me know if you've seen it before. So this slides out. You've got writing space. Then this opens and you've got more writing space. Or you could use the leftover parts, which you'll see, to make pockets. Now this is a one-piece wonder, and the bits that you chop off you can use for pockets either on this or somewhere else in your journal. But here's what I was thinking. When I do my middle signatures, I just find them, because they usually, well, they always have to be the same size piece of paper, and I like layers. How cool would this be if you sew your signature, so this is your center folio, you sew your signature through, and then once you've sewn them into your journal, you close this and you slide this guy in, and then the center of your folio is this little contained parcel. I thought that was a cute idea. So for love letters and lace, let's do that. Let's make one of these for our center signatures, and you can make a larger version as well. This is from an A3 piece of paper though, believe it or not, and it's not twice the size like an A4 is of an A3, but it will give you a significantly larger center signature. And I know what you'll be thinking, so I'll let you know that. When we make it in one piece, you'll probably be thinking, well, can't I just cut pieces like that and stick them on each side? You absolutely can. The only difference that will make, the only compromise, is that you would have glue running down there and running down there. So this piece cannot be the exact width of here. It would have to be slightly shorter to accommodate for those glue strips. So I like the fact that this, and I could have made it slightly bigger so that it's almost identical, but I like it that it's the same size because it makes it look a little bit more hidden, like you wouldn't actually know it was there, as opposed to something that's smaller that obviously looks like it pulls out. And when we do our one, decorate it, I might actually make this almost as close to the size as I can to show you what I mean. So there we go. What do you think? Now the only thing that I had to be careful of is that one side, you'll see this gap here, whereas that one's shorter, and that's just so that when you slide it in, you can put it in the long side first, turn it over, and then it will slide in nicely. If they're the same, you've got to try and fiddle around making both sides go in at the same time. So that is the only difference. All right, shall we get making? Oh, one more thing before we get started, because I know you'll be wondering. I have tallied as promised, and I might have taken it a little bit too seriously, but I have tallied the results of the pages that you guys want to make. So there are the pages. Those are the top 10 favourite ones that came out with the most tallies. We will be making 10 of the pages from that video and putting it into this journal. So that will be coming soon. I just got a little bit excited by this idea and wanted to make these and show you them. All right. Okay, now we get started. Okay, so I will do the measurements and everything on white card. The reason being is because if I use the gel printed surface and I'm just scoring to actually make it, it'll probably be harder to see. So I'll use a pen to do my score lines so that it's really clear. And then once I've cut it all up and discarded the other pieces and done the measurements, I will swap out to this one to decorate. Okay. So I've just got, this is 240 GSM card, but as long as it's something that's thicker than normal copy paper, you should be fine, just so it's a bit more durable to slide the folio in and out of the pockets. The one I showed you, I used this ledger paper, and it is It's definitely not card weight, but it is definitely thicker, and it's quite a durable paper as well. I don't think it's rag paper, but it definitely is sturdy. It folds nicely, it folds crisply. Okay, so measurements. We need to divide this into thirds along the long edge. So if you are using the bigger version, the A3, you just need to figure out what the thirds are. With an A4, your length here is 30.5 centimetres or 11 6/8 of an inch. I'll try and give you guys both if I remember. But we will start off well, I promise. So if we're going to, obviously my scoreboard's in inches, so I'll do this one in inches. If you are using centimetres, I would go for 10.2, 10.2, and then you'll have 10.05 left over. And the fact that that third piece is shorter is absolutely fine, because when you fold it, so here are the thirds, the piece that you fold in first is the shorter piece, and usually you'd trim this a little bit anyway so that when you glue these together it doesn't bulge out too much because it catches in there in the fold. So you'd normally trim that off a little bit anyway, so that will work. So I'm going to score at 4 and at 8, and that's going to give me 4 inches, 4 inches and 3.6/8 of an inch. Then I need to turn it this way, and I just want a halfway line, and rather than measuring, I usually find it more accurate just to fold it. And so now we've got your inside piece, which is just a little bit shy, and then that piece will fold over to match exactly. Now we just need to do a few measurements. Now all that you have to do is one side needs to be shorter than the other side, and I give about 2 centimeters difference in here. So I'll show you what I mean. That just makes it easy, like I showed you for that sliding in and sliding out. So if we go 2 centimeters this side, 2 centimeters, Sara-Lee. We'll just cross that one out, and then you turn it around. I would go 4 centimeters in this side. Okay, and then we are going to cut into those marks along that fold line. Now you could do this after, but I just find this would be easier for you to follow along with, I think, rather than doing it all at once. Okay, now we just want an angle, and that angle can be anything you like. You're never going to see it like that again, but as you can see, my angle lines are, even though one's shorter, they look similar. This one just looks a little bit longer. So if you want to do that, I'm going to show you how. So if we went in 2 centimeters here, so that is our line mark. You probably want another 3 centimeters on an angle. So that's 2. Let's go to 5 here, and then we're just going to do the same up the top. We'll come in to 5, just like the other side. So this one needs to match this one. Let's just say that. Now you can see these are exactly the same. So if we want the same angle, the difference between 2 and 5 is 3 centimeters. So whatever this is, between 4, we need another 3 centimeters. And honestly, it doesn't matter if your angles are off, as long as those two match each other and these two match each other. I'm just being a little bit pedantic. Okay, so this one we went to 4. So we want another 3 centimeters so that those angles will match. So 1, 2, 3. This side we do at 7. And this side we need to mark at 7. And we're done. Okay, that's all the measuring you've got to do. Then this bit, this bit, this bit, and this bit need to be cut off. And what I was saying before is that these make great little pockets to stick back on. So there's really no waste. You go. That's what you're left with. The last thing you have to do is cut to here and cut to here, right along that score line. So yeah, please, 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 please let me know what you think, because I would love to know. I bet you someone's made one of these. I just haven't seen it. Okay, so now when we fold that one in first, always the shorter one, and then the longer one sits on top. Okay, same this side, longer one sits on top, that goes in there like that, and now we have a longer side and a shorter side, meaning the folio can go into the shorter side first, and then we'll be easily able to pop it into there. Alright, now gluing, and I'll show you the gluing while I'm still using the white. So all I do with my shorter piece is I only put glue along this edge. Done. Okay, so I'm going to do the other side as well. Glue along that bottom edge. Make sure those are stuck down. I don't want to glue that bit because then that's going to shorten the size of the folio that I can fit in there. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue along the top of it now. My glue's being a little bit sensitive today. And I'm also just going to run, whoops, a little bit of glue along this one and across here. And there's quite a gap in here, just for a little bit of extra stability that you're not going to see, that you can add a little bit of glue on. And then that one is going to fold over there. That one is going to fold over there. And to be fair, if you've only glued the inside there, there's actually another little pocket there that you could stick a tag in. There we go. Done. And then, like I was saying, you could use 2 of these bits that we cut off, if you've got pretty paper, to make little pockets on the inside. So that's what I did for this one that I made, the A3. And don't you just love that image for love letters and lace? And I made this and I thought, oh my goodness, that's going to be problematic because this would have been perfect and I've already made it. But I did manage to scan it, and in your pack this week, if you've got the Come Make With Me or the Mega Bundle, you have 2 different ones this size, just with the oval and the flat piece at the bottom. So if you do want to put it in here or use it in the journal, you can. Now I didn't glue down all 3 sides because I made them a little bit shorter so I could still see the picture. So that side there is open, and I'll just put a little piece of note paper slipped in there, so it's more of a tuck than a pocket, that one. But that was only because I didn't want to hide the picture. Okay, so let's just glue this guy up again. And when you've got a double-sided, you've got to decide which one you like better. So these two gel prints, they will also be in the Come Make With Me folder for this part. So look for the part 2 folder. And we've just got to decide, do we want it like that, or do we want it like that? And I actually prefer this side. I think looks, because I get that beautiful brown up there. So yeah, that one, or that one. I feel like the first one wins. Alright, so let's just glue again, because it's always helpful. This is probably the trickiest part. So remember, we're just going to, for this one, only glue along the bottom. Hopefully my glue is going to behave a bit better. I was being very generous a moment ago. And then same with this guy, just along the bottom. And so like I say, if you want to leave this part open so that you could stick a tag in, I think I actually might for this. Let's make a couple of tags and put those in too. So that means we only want to glue to here. So I will just, now that I know where I can glue, I'll glue that. I better get rid of that little piece of glue there that I over. And then remember, along here and up. And then we will close that. Same thing here. So I want to go to about here. So just make my finger make sense to mark it. Add glue. And then across. And up. And now I am going to have a space to put a tag through there and through there. So I'm just going to quickly ink the edges a little bit, and yes, I probably should have if I was going to ink this, but given the paper I'm using, it's not going to be too noticeable, but I should have inked that little bit there first. So I'll just stick a piece of paper in there and ink the edge of that one, and I will pop back in a second. Okay, all inked up. So now we just need to make that insert. So if we measure, that was exactly 10. So I do want it a couple of millimeters, or maybe an 1/8 or a 1/16 of an inch thinner than the actual pocket, and we will test it too. So there's 10, and I'm just going to come back just a little bit. And we'll see how that fits. Can always trim it a little bit more. There we go, that's a nice fit. And if we fold it, and I do round the edges once I'm done as well. That just makes it slightly easier to get in the pocket again. There we go. And so we just need to, the folio is slightly shorter because of the glue, so I might just chop off 1.5 centimeters there. And then that should be the perfect size. There we go, it sits nice and flush. So now I'm just going to cover cover it, and then we'll have to put a tab of some sort in there as well so that it's easier to pull out. So I've scanned this. I'll pop the scanned copy in the folder. It's just a Mayflower edition front cover, but I thought that could look quite pretty sitting out of those pockets. So I'm just going to cover the front with that, and then I'll just cover the inside with another piece, just front and back, and then I'll come back. Okay, there we go. Simple. And then just going to grab some little pieces of this coffee dyed note paper. Now you could either go right across, or you could do what I do and make two little pieces so that they've both got borders. Just doing this completely by eye. So you got two little pieces of note paper there. So I'll just quickly ink those. And glue them on. Now obviously the sky's the limit of how you decorate this. You could put a little label there. It's completely up to you. At the moment I'm just going to leave it as is. And then on the outside, I'm perfectly happy with how pretty that looks in there. Just very hard to get back out once you've got it in there, you see. So this is why we need to fix this. So all you need to do is, if you want to do it this way, get a double-sided piece of card, punch it out single-sided, give it a quick ink, then we just want to slit a hole in this fold so that the tab can poke through and that gets glued on the inside. So if I line that up, I want my slit to be pretty central, but it doesn't really matter. About there to about there. And then all we need to do is go about just a millimetre, a fraction either side. This old paper does not like me craft knifing it. And then hopefully just poke that little bit out of there. And I do just give that a bit of ink because it is quite a stark white. And then this little guy is just going to poke through there like that. So all we've got to do is glue this area. And so I just put him exactly where I want him. just put a little bit of glue along there so that I make sure I get that top edge, and there we go. So the only part that should be stuck or glued is that part there, so that when you open it up it doesn't impinge on opening. Okay, so I'm just going to give that a quick clamp and allow it to dry. Now with this one, I was watching Crafty by Tony the other day. She does some amazing things, and she was doing a whole heap of little ideas. Check out that video if you haven't seen it, and I will try and find it and put in the description, where she's using these D-rings and then she's making that idea, right? And I was thinking for this, if you just slid a little hole in there, that could be a nice pull as well, with just that part coming out. So I might do that with this guy. Just see how we go. And I know that's upside down because it was a one-piece directional, so you have to live with that, but I will be covering it with something. But yeah, that's another version where you'd probably sew through here just to make it a little bit stronger, and then I would glue that whole thing together, and when you put it through that slit I would only glue that side on so that it can still open. The other alternative is if you bent that, folded it so that it could move when it's on the inside. So if the slit is there, but honestly I'd just do it the other way. I'd just glue them together and put them in. Okay, so I need to, for this one, I just need to round those corners and re-ink them. So I'll just and I like to use a nice round one. I find this just helps a little bit getting them into the pockets as well. I mean, you could say it was pretty easy as is, but so there we go. Put it in the short side first, flip it over, and then you can direct it in. There we go. And luckily now we have a pull tab. You've just, the only thing, see how that's just stopping? You've just got to make sure that that guy isn't impeding. So sometimes I just give him a slight bend, maybe the top one too, and then he can slide underneath the other fold. But I think that's looking pretty good. Now I have got, that being a slightly longer video, this digital here, and I've put this chunk into the Come Make With Me folder. The mega bundle has the whole thing, obviously. I made some little resin tiled charms. Now this was a labour of love, this digital. I had to scan every single Mayflower page, and they only have one of these per page, and then take those decorative initials off each page and clean them up and put them on here. But I think it was worth it because I think these are super cute little tiles. I've resined these ones, and I'll put the link for, just if you don't know how to resin, you could use glossy accents, you could use nail polish, and I think I did one with nail polish. That one is just done with nail polish, still has the shiny 2 coats. So yeah, just I thought that eye one was really pretty, so I will make sure that a section of those is in the Come Make With Me. And I just grabbed out some bits, so I just cut a bit off here. It'll just depend what you've got, obviously. This is just a random book. It's the one that I used for the palette, my paint palette last week. Keep harvesting out of this. It's got reasonably nice thick pages, you see. And we just want to put something on here. So just remember it's going to be sewn into our signature there. And I honestly think this side might not need very much. I mean, you could just put a little charm or a little photo there. But let's just decorate this side. So I was thinking that goes under there. We need to make sure we've got room because remember this is open for our pocket. And so just 3 elements, one at least that's got a texture. And then I'm just going to glue that there. Okay. So next thing we've got to do is we have to make a couple of little tags for the pocket there. This is going to be fun to glue, isn't it? As long as we've got a little bit of glue in the important places. That's all we can hope for, I guess. And this is also going to be interesting to glue on, so I'll just make sure I've got quite a bit of glue on there. Now all I did with those, by the way, is I got some matte board, or you could just use 2 layers of cardboard, stuck this cutout on, and then you can resin glossy accents or clear nail polish. So I just need to stick that under something heavy for a while just so that it adheres to this and the paper on the other side. Now, I can't always promise that my thinking will stay the way it is. Yes, you could have a tag in there, but I actually think it's too much. Sometimes you've just got to go with your gut, and I think that because it's so small, does not need an extra tag, and I think it just makes it look too busy. But I do not need to teach you how to make tags. I know you know how to make tags, so if you want to put a tag in each of those little slots and leave it like that, you can. I might put something up there, but I haven't quite decided yet. It might just be something like that. It might be, what about something like that? That's quite cool. Or do we want more contrast? No. Too same. I think that. Let's just pop that on there. And either you'll have the tools to make this or you won't. So what that is I've just cut out a photo. I've got hot glue, clear, very crystal clear hot glue, and a seal punch that's got the flat, not the embossed or picture in the middle of it. And I've just squeezed the hot glue directly onto the photograph and stamped this seal. I do feel like I might just need a little something under there, but I'm not sure what. Maybe just a little bit of muslin, or yeah, how about, what I love doing with these, this is just leftover scraps I've got, and I'm sure you'll have leftover scraps, and then I just get my paper punch, I do all the corners, and I just put that under there like that, just to give it a little bit of a background. So I'll just quickly and there are already in the Come Make With Me folder in the Google Drive, there's already some copies of letters, so if you do want specifically, you could print them out and put them behind there. Just put on a little bit of card like I have. There we go. Now we've got just a little something front and back, because it will go into the signature there and then it will flip over there. And you can always hang a little eyelet and a little charm off there as well, which would look super cute. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I didn't end up using my pockets, these on the inside, but it's not to say that we might not use them somewhere else in the journal, or you might prefer the version with the pocket inside. But I just think that's going to be quite cute, just to flip around in the middle of a signature and you not even really know it's there unless you know it's there. So yeah, but that works quite well. Put it in the short side just a little bit, turn it over, and then yeah, you can just slide it in there. And that tab eventually it kind of fits to it after it's been sitting in there for a while, so don't worry too much if initially it catches on there and doesn't go in. Alright, well, let me know what you think. Have you seen it? Have you not? Is it something that you're happy for us to have in our centres of our signatures? Yeah, but until next time, when we're either going to be gathering up our pages, because you do need to know which backgrounds I'm going to be using, or whether I give you one background, one folio, and we start making one of our top 10 pages. I'm not entirely sure yet. But until next time, thank you for being here. Thanks for crafting with me. Thanks for not thinking I'm crazy. Mā te wā.